What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video, I'm going to go over how Lucid Motors stock could potentially double your money and also why they're up so much both yesterday and into today as well. But before we actually get into the video, for those of you who are new here, my name is Evan and I make videos about different hot stocks that have a lot of growth potential. So if that interests you guys, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload. Also, while you guys are down there, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it, and it lets me know that you guys enjoy these video updates every day. And if you guys are new to this whole game of Churchill and Lucid Motors, Churchill is the SPAC that's bringing Lucid Motors public. But Churchill's price today is at $27 and they're up right over 1% on the daily chart. Now you don't actually get to see how much they're up until you look at the 1 week chart, and you can see that they're actually up almost 12% on the weekly chart. At their low, Churchill actually pulled all the way back down to $22 earlier this week. So it's good to see them actually recovering, and it's good to see them up almost 12% on the weekly chart. You guys probably are aware, but they actually hit an all-time high of about $63. Since that point, they've just been pulling back, and it's been this constant downwards trend. Now, I don't want to jinx it, but I think we're finally seeing the bottom, and these EV stocks are finally starting to recover and start going back up. Now, there's no guarantee of that, but it seems like there's been an overall shift in the EV sector, and it seems like a lot of these stocks are starting to climb back up. Now, with Churchill being so hectic and being extremely volatile over the last couple of weeks, a lot of people are probably thinking that Lucid Motors or Churchill stock really isn't worth the investment. But if you guys are long-term investors, the potential for Lucid Motors stock to double, I don't think it's really out of the picture, and I think it's something we can expect, whether that happens this year or in the coming years. The EV sector, like I've said many times before, is going to be huge, and I think it's good for Lucid to be going public at a time like this where we're seeing such a boom in electric vehicle stocks. Now, like I mentioned, Churchill was actually up to about $65. I think their high was right around $63. Then the shares came crashing down once reality set in and the details around the deal were actually released. This is when investors realized that Churchill couldn't be trading over $60, at least when you look at the fundamental and technical side of things. So now over the past week or so, shares were trading around $20 to $25. Now today we're seeing them up right around $27. But I think from this point where Lucid or Churchill, if you want to call it that, where they're trading right now, I think the potential for them to double in the future is very likely. But if you guys are going to invest in Churchill Capital or Lucid Motors at some point in the future, you have to know that this is going to be a bumpy ride and it's going to be an extremely volatile stock, especially in the meantime until they start delivering vehicles and get some vehicles on the road and start beefing up their balance sheet. Because until that point, they're basically a useless company because they're not delivering vehicles yet. So again, until that point, their stock is going to be extremely volatile. And we can already tell this just based on the fact that they shot up to almost $65. And this was just on a bunch of hype around the company. It was a lot of people buying into Lucid Motors, not realizing that when they're buying Churchill Capital, they're not actually buying Lucid. And that was also at the same time that the merger wasn't yet confirmed. Once the merger had been confirmed, the next day, Churchill actually pulled down to about $44, I believe. And I think there was a lot of people who were confused and it was their first time buying into a SPAC or a special purpose acquisition company. And after buying in, they realized that a SPAC just raises money to bring a company public. I think there was a lot of people who were not aware of this and they were just buying into Churchill thinking that it was already Lucid Motors. But that wasn't the only thing that's pulled their stock back. There's also been an overall downtrend in the EV sector. And the main driver of this is mostly that people are realizing that the EV sector has been hyperinflated for quite a while. This isn't to say that the EV sector isn't going to be huge in the future, because I really do think it's going to be. I think a lot of these companies are going to 5 and 10x in the next 10 to 20 years. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of these stocks ran up super high in a very short amount of time. For example, I talk about NIO a lot on this channel, and you guys know that NIO ran up somewhere around 1700% when they were at their all-time high, and that was in just over a year of trading. I think last May they were trading right around $3 or $4, and at their high they were over $60. So there's really no argument that a lot of these EV stocks have really been propped up, and a lot of people are buying them with that future growth in mind. Now, it's kind of hard to do that for Churchill or Lucid Motors because they don't yet have any vehicles or anything to show in terms of tangible evidence that they may have a successful business. As of right now, it's just a lot of talk and a lot of predictions, but I don't want that to deter you guys from investing in Lucid Motors, because personally, I really do think that they are a good company and they have a lot of good fundamentals. And if they really do put out the technology and the vehicles that they're talking about, for example, their 500+ mile range, I think the ability for them to compete with Tesla at some point in the future, it's not really going to be out of the question, because Lucid is definitely going for more of that luxury end of vehicles, where Tesla is more mainstream. And while they do have more luxury end vehicles, Lucid's flagship Lucid Air is going to be a luxury vehicle, and that's going to be the first released vehicle. It's not going to be for a year or two down the road where they start releasing their normal sedans for a much lower price. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but they actually delayed deliveries of their Lucid Air. Originally, it was supposed to be released in spring of 2021, but now it's looking like it's going to be more in the second half of the year. And this is because Peter Rawlinson, who is the CEO, and he was actually an engineer at Tesla, but he attributed this decision to the advice from a former Ford CEO who is currently on the Churchill Capital's operating team. He basically told Rawlinson to take his time to nail the product quality, and so by pushing back their release a couple months, this is really going to help them nail that down, and they can really work out any flaws they may have had early on with production being released in the spring instead of later on in the year. Now, when I talk about Lucid Motors potentially doubling, you guys have to keep in mind how volatile they are. A lot of people think when a stock is going to double, it's going to take 5, 10, maybe 20 years for it to double in price. But with the growth we've seen in the tech sector and the EV sector over the last few years, it's crazy to think that an electric vehicle stock, especially a new one that's supposed to compete with Tesla, it's crazy to think that they couldn't double in a couple of years' time, especially considering how volatile they've been just in the last couple months. And that was just on news of a potential merger happening. But I'll give you guys some numbers maybe to put it more into reality on how they could actually double in the future. So Lucid is actually forecasting vehicle deliveries of about 20,000 in 2022. So if they did end up accomplishing and hitting this number, they would generate over $2.2 billion in sales. And there's also going to be 1.6 billion shares outstanding after the merger closes in the second quarter. Now, I don't know if there's a confirmed date yet. If you guys know, let me know down in the comments, but I haven't been able to find anything yet. But all I know as of right now is it's in the second quarter and there's going to be 1.6 billion shares. Now, if we were to take those shares and at $40 per share, this would translate into an implied market cap of 64 billion. And this would suggest a forward sales multiple of 29 at that price. Now, of course, that's extremely high, but we've seen Tesla and NIO much higher than that or around that before, even though right now Tesla and NIO are a bit lower, Tesla being at about 13 and NIO being right under 12. And typically I strive to go for anything under 10 unless it's an extremely well-known company. And if I believe that they do have a lot of future growth ahead. But some of these stocks, you're not always going to have that opportunity to buy them below a 10x multiple of their sales. Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and buy them at these prices. So that would be Lucid Motors at $40 per share. But if we bump that up to $50 per share, they'd be valued at $80 billion or around 36 times their 2022 sales. Now again, this sounds crazy, but we actually saw NIO get up to about $100 billion at one point in terms of their market cap. Personally, I think if Lucid is able to deliver over 20,000 vehicles, and especially considering that they're definitely in the luxury end of vehicles with their vehicles costing about $170,000, I think for them to be valued less than NIO is kind of crazy, and I think they should be valued a bit higher, even if they do produce slightly less vehicles, because this is also considering that NIO's been around for a few years longer, and they have a lot more history than Lucid Motors. So within 1 to 2 years time, for Lucid to catch up to NIO and possibly even surpass them slightly, I don't think it's really crazy to think that that could happen. Now, in order to justify such a valuation, Lucid would need to do a few more things, and in addition, they need to start the production of their Air and really ramp up manufacturing operations. And this is what's really going to accelerate their growth and bring up their business, which is what we need to see in the next couple of years. Now, while this is no easy task, the good news is that they already are laying the literal groundwork, recently securing approval for a second phase of their factory in Arizona and this is coming from the local zoning commission. If you guys haven't heard of this, this basically allows their capacity to increase from 34,000 units per year up to 90,000 vehicles. And this is the amount of deliveries Lucid is striving to hit by 2024. And if they did hit that, that'd be about $9.9 billion in revenue. So at that point, within 3 years' time, Lucid would be producing about 1/5 of the vehicles that Tesla is producing on an annual basis. Now, of course, this is all predictions and we don't know if this is actually going to happen, but that just puts into perspective how much Lucid is really striving to be a competitor with Tesla. Now, if you fast forward a few years for Tesla, they're probably going to be putting out a few million vehicles per year, but I think the expectation that Lucid could catch up to Tesla, I don't think it's out of the picture, and I think it's a possibility. Whether that happens sooner or later, I think it's bound to happen at some point, as long as Lucid can keep up on their technologies and actually put out these vehicles that they're promising. And just to give you a couple examples of the technological claims that Lucid has, they're saying that their vehicles are going to have over a 500-mile range and also the ability to charge 300 miles in 20 minutes with DC fast charging. And the industry-leading efficiency actually would top Tesla. So with me saying that they could compete with Tesla and actually be up there in the top 5 auto manufacturers, I say this figuring that they're going to keep up on their promises of these technological advances that they're working on. If they can't actually put out vehicles that charge 300 miles in 20 minutes, or with 500 miles of range or other things that they're promising, there's really no way that they're going to compete with Tesla. But I think if they can keep up these promises, they really do have a good chance. Now, as to why Churchill is actually up today and why they were up so much yesterday, bond yields have actually given up some ground in recent days. And this is good for both Churchill and other EV peers in the space. And also yesterday, Tesla actually saw a green day, and they really haven't been seeing too many green days in the last few weeks. Now, I believe today Tesla is down a couple of percent. So it is kind of surprising to see Churchill still up 1 to 2% today, with Tesla actually being down 2%. Because you guys know that Churchill and a lot of these other EV stocks really do follow Tesla almost to a T, especially when there's big movements in their share price. Now, for those of you who made it this far into the video, I want to hear what your guys' price prediction is on Lucid Motors by the end of the year. Now, keep in mind they're going to merge at some point in the second quarter of the year, but I want to hear what your guys' price prediction is, figuring that they're going to start releasing vehicles in the second half of the year. So again, let me know your guys' price prediction down in the comments. And if you guys haven't signed up for Webull, make sure you guys sign up using the link in the description. And when you sign up and deposit $100, you'll get 2 free stocks and I'll get 1 free stock. So I really appreciate anybody that signs up. So make sure you guys sign up before this offer ends. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like because it really does help out the channel. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you back here in the next one. Bye.